Good evening, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of A Word with Pastor Webb. I'm your host, Pastor Webb, and we have a very, very, very special guest this evening, Mr. Warren Howard Jr., the CFO or the Chief Financial Officer of Hitachi. I hope I pronounced that right. But he's my friend, my brother. Please help me to salute and celebrate my friend. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, my brother? It's good to see you. Good to be with you. And it's been a long time, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, how was the trip? How was the ride?
It was good. It was good. You know, I came in town a few days to spend some time with my mom, and so it's good to be back home. I always enjoy coming back home.
And the flight was good?
Yeah, everything was great.
And you got your rental car, so you rolling?
Got me a rental car.
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, I know you, but a lot of folks may not know you. Tell me, what's your story? How did you grow up?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, I'm a proud product of Lakeland, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Born and raised, Polk County resident, and come from a small family. It's just myself and a younger brother. He's about 10 years younger than I am. And we grew up right there in Lincoln Court Projects. Right?
The project, the bricks, the rock.
Right in Lincoln Court. I'm a proud product of the Lincoln Court Projects. And, you know, had a modest childhood. My mother and father divorced when I was 10 years old. So, you know, at a very young age, you know, I understood the meaning of what it was like to be rooted and grounded where you're from, and my mom had great work ethic, and we had a good childhood. And so from there, you know, I went on to I graduated from Kathleen Senior High School.
Yeah. I won't hold that against you, but so your brother, he's doing what now?
My brother actually lives in Houston.
Houston,
and,
okay.
He went to University of Florida. He's a Florida Gator.
Okay.
And he graduated with an accounting degree, and then after he finished school, he moved out to Houston with me. And he works now for Chevron Oil Company.
Y'all be doing that. He's following your footsteps.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, sir. All right, Doc, give me 3 words that best describe who you are and why.
Yeah, so the first I would say is I'm going to do 4. I'm going to do 4 actually. But I call them the 4 pillars of my life.
Okay.
You know, one is faith.
Right.
The second one is family.
Okay.
And the third one is work ethic.
Okay.
And then the fourth one is compassion. So
okay.
I call it FFWC.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those are the 4 pillars of my life, and as long as I'm staying within that lane, and everything works out for me quite well.
Okay. No, I got to ask you, though, when we was in college together, you weren't that big, so I see you've been working out, Doc. You must be eating weights. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, Doc, so what are some of your hobbies? I know you played basketball in high school. So what are some of your hobbies now?
Yeah, I did. So I still enjoy playing basketball, but you know, at my age now, I try not to get on the court too much.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy playing golf and mentoring. You know, I really take great pride in reaching back and helping the youth in the inner city, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy coming back home, is so I can, you know, have that touch and feel to my community.
Okay, so you're still working out, taking care of yourself, drinking a lot of water, right?
Drinking a lot of water.
Yes,
absolutely.
sir. Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Okay. Now, who is your current employer, and give me your job title, and then explain me your role.
Yeah, great question. So I work for Hitachi ABB Power Grids, and it is a transformer manufacturing company.
Okay.
And so my role is VP of Finance, CFO of the North America region.
So you said CFO. CFO means what?
Yeah, Chief Financial Officer.
Okay.
And so I really have a global responsibility for all of the transformers that are manufactured in the United States, in Mexico, and Canada. And
wow.
so in total, it's about a $1.5 billion business that I'm responsible for overseeing all the finance and accounting, as well as information technology, IT.
So from the projects to power.
That's right.
That I preach all day, boy.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned it. Let me jump right on it. I know you were. Did you look at your resume? You was in charge of revenues for over $200 million, $400 million, and now $1.5 billion.
That's correct.
You controlling you watching all this money. How did it make you feel?
Yeah, I tell you what, Pastor Webb, it's a blessing, first of all, from God, you know, to come from where I come from, you know, in Lakeland, Florida, and from a small family, you know, single parent family. You know, my mother was a cornerstone, and for me to be able to leave Bethune-Cookman, where I graduated, and then immediately from there to go to get my MBA at Clark Atlanta University, and then got recruited right out of graduate school by Exxon, and I started my journey in Houston. And you know, originally it was a little intimidating but what you have to understand is just because you come from an HBCU, you know, you're just as qualified. So you have to walk in with that confidence and that aura, knowing that you are just as qualified as anyone coming from Harvard. So you know, it made me very proud to know that I'm a proud product from Lakeland, Florida, and was out competing with people who were from much bigger cities and from much bigger schools.
Right. So that leads me to my next question. Graduated from Bethune-Cookman University, go Wildcat. Clark Atlanta University, which is all HBCU
That's
colleges. So what do you say to people that says you shouldn't go to a HBCU because you may not find a good job or be successful?
Yeah,
and let me let, for those who may not know, HBCU, Historical Black College and Universities.
Absolutely.
So what do you tell folks that hate on us?
Yeah, well, you know, I look at it this way: it's not really the school, is what's in you that makes the school.
Okay.
Right? And so what Bethune-Cookman did for me is I knew at a very young age, because my uncle Linwood Bell was a product of Bethune-Cookman. And so I knew at a very young age that that's what I wanted to do, because he laid the foundation for me as one of my role models. And when I first got there my freshman year, which is when I met you, and we were college roommates.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and it was just a family atmosphere. You know, they take you in, they show you exactly what it's like to have a home away from home at a very young age, at 18 years old. But I always tell people, it's not the college that makes you, it's you putting what you can give into the college so that you can fully develop your skill set. And then once you do that, then it doesn't matter whether or not you're at a HBCU or a big Ivy League school, you know. But I took great pride at coming from an HBCU, which is why I also went and got my master's degree from an HBCU as well.
Okay. Now, like we talked about college, room doom, freshman, hung it,
exactly.
had great times. Now, what are some of the most memorable moments at Cookman?
Yeah. Well, you know, first of all, my freshman year, and you know, it was a little bit bittersweet because, like I said, I come from a small family, and it was just my mother and I and my brother. And you know, the first time she dropped me off there at Cookman my freshman year, and we stayed in Lefevre Hall. You know, it was bittersweet. You know, when I met you, and but I quickly understood what it was like to be at home and to grow up into a man. And so, you know, that was a good experience for me. I really enjoyed it.
And you know, last night I got doctor, I was going through some archives. I got some pictures that you may want to check out. Check out these pictures. Check these pictures out. Do they bring back memories? Do they bring back memories?
Yes,
do they bring back memories?
Yes, indeed.
On step show, the fashion show, the whole 9 yards.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful time.
Wonderful time. 30 plus years, Doc.
Yes.
30 plus years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought, Doc?
Long time.
God is good, ain't it?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. All right, Doc. Next question. Now, I know when you finished Clark Atlanta University, you was 24 years old.
24.
Went to work for Exxon,
Yes.
oil company.
Yes.
How did it make you feel?
Yes, very proud, first of all. Like I said, coming from Lakeland and representing Lakeland, and when I got the offer to go and move out to Houston, Texas and work for Exxon, 24 years old, like you said, you know, because I really went right out of undergraduate into grad school. You know,
Right.
most people stop and
out,
work.
right,
You know, I
right.
went right out of Bethune-Cookman into Clark Atlanta and got my MBA and with a concentration in finance. Got recruited. So at 24 years old, you know, I was out working for a multi-billion-dollar company, and started out in the internal audit department, and was the only person of color.
Yeah, I know that.
Was the only person of color, you know, and so I walked into that role with great pride, knowing that I was fully prepared. You know, coming from Bethune-Cookman and then getting my MBA from Clark Atlanta, I was just as prepared as anybody coming from Harvard or Wharton or Yale.
Hey, you felt good, huh?
I felt great.
Briefcase and all.
Felt great. Felt great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, what advice would you give to a young man or a woman who wants to go into your profession?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I would recommend is identify yourself very early with someone who you look up to. You know, it does not have to be anyone from your family. It can be anyone in your circle of influence that you look up to, and reach out to them to establish a mentor-mentee relationship. And that was what helped me very early on, is connecting with people, understanding that networking is extremely important. And after that, then know that, believe in yourself, right? Believe in yourself, have a strong prayer life, stay rooted in your faith,
Right.
knowing that, you know, if you're fully prepared, then you can do anything. The sky's the limit.
Okay. But let's go back. I know most folks know your name's Warren, but Tommy, how in college we call you Cool T, and we
Right.
call you Golden Child.
That's
Why?
right.
Why?
That's
Why?
right.
Tell
That's
the
right.
audience why.
That's a great question. So the Cool T name actually came from high school.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay.
I played basketball in
Okay.
high school, and you know, I always liked to be sharp in terms of how I dressed and be very neat. And so they start calling me Cool Tommy. And so that's where the Cool T came from. So they dropped the Tommy and just called me Cool T.
Cool T. All right.
Yeah. And then in terms of Golden Child, that name actually came from when I was pledging at Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
I pledged AFL, And one of my brothers, big brothers, who was pledging me.
Okay.
They was talking about the movie The Golden Child that Eddie Murphy starred.
Right.
And so that was the name that they gave me as my line name, Golden Child.
So what is the greatest black fraternity in the world?
Oh, no doubt, Alpha Phi Alpha.
Boy, look, yes, sir. Okay, now if you had one wish, what would it be?
Well, the one wish I would say is I would make sure that I can come back to Lakeland and launch a mentoring program to be able to help the kids in the inner city, which is a product of what I am. And that's actually something that's a great dream of mine, is to be able to come back and launch a nonprofit organization to be able to establish a mentor-mentee relationship with kids in the inner city to help them prepare for college or whatever vocation they choose to pursue.
Right. And what would you say the number one problem that plagues the young black male?
I think self-confidence.
Self-confidence, okay.
I think self-confidence. And the reason I say that is because it can be a little intimidating. When you're coming from the inner city and you don't identify with other people who have walked the path that you're trying to walk, it gets a little intimidating and you tend to get discouraged.
Okay.
And so your self-confidence tends to wane a little bit, but as long as you identify with someone who you can look up to see that, hey, if Warren or Tommy did it, I can also do it, right? And so I think self-confidence is one of the downfalls that a lot of our youth have in terms of identifying with someone and believing that they can do whatever they want to do.
And so mentoring would help that out.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, Doc. Now, what is the one thing that some may know about you that others may not know?
Yeah, that's a great question. So,
and then don't put we won't put it all out there.
Exactly. So I would say I have a humorous side to me.
Right.
And my wife, knows this. And like I said, I've been married for 25 years.
My Jesus.
Yeah, I've been with my wife for 30 years.
Right.
We dated 5 years before we got married. And occasionally I'll just walk around the house and try to keep it lighthearted. When I've had a stressful day at work, I'll just walk up to her and just say something funny. And then she'll say, you really are, kind of humorous at times. So a lot of people don't really know that because they don't see me in action most of the time.
All right. Now, what are some of the early mistakes you made in life that you had to overcome?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the one thing that I would say is when I was in high school, I was always very athletic, coming up playing sports.
Right.
And I played basketball in high school, and I had a decision to make whether or not I wanted to play basketball or whether or not I just wanted to focus on preparing myself for college.
Right.
And the one thing that I did was, I should have made the decision earlier to just focus on college alone and not really play as much basketball as I had wanted to play. And my guidance counselor, Mr. Don Williams, he came to me.
Yeah.
He came to me and he said, he called me Tommy. He said, Tommy, I really want you to think about just focusing on your college preparation. So I got in upward bound, but one of the mistakes I made was it took me about a year to make that decision. Okay. Because I still had basketball in me. I wanted to play basketball, but eventually, he got to me and I joined upward bound, and then the sky was the limit from there.
So did you ever thought you would go pro playing basketball? You was a great point guard.
Yeah. I had that dream.
Right.
I had that dream, but at the time, I heard concerns from everybody, that I was too short. But I was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
But and that's what kind of discouraged me a little bit is when I kept hearing that that I was too small to go and play college ball and ultimately become a professional at it.
All right, but look at you now.
Yeah.
Large in charge.
No regret.
No regret.
No regret.
Yes, sir. Now, what has been your biggest loss or fear?
Yeah. So I start with the loss, and I'll say this is the biggest loss to me coming up was when I lost my grandmother, and she passed away. She was the cornerstone, of our family, and when that happened, it shook me to the core. Is because I come from a small family, and I grew up in the church, and when I lost her, we used to talk on the phone every Sunday, and she would call me even out in Houston, and we would talk. And so when I lost her, when she passed away, she was 92 years old. That really shook me to the core. And I had to regroup, obviously with my family members. We pulled together and we moved forward. And that was probably the biggest loss I had.
Okay. She passed away when?
She passed away, I think it was in 2002.
To look into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Doc. What are you most proud of?
Most proud of being a resident of Polk County, Florida, and
Yes, sir.
Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah.
You know, I love my city. I'm a proud resident coming from Lakeland. My goal eventually, you know, when I retire, is to come back to Polk
Right.
County. You know, I really want to do that, and that's the proudest moment of my life, is knowing when I graduated from high school, you know, and my mother was a single mom and worked and put my brother and I through college, and to be able to, you know, to come back and help my mother and make sure that she's secured financially. Right. You know, that's one of the proudest moments of my life.
Wow. Yeah. Come back home. We need more brothers to come back home, man.
Right, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Okay. If you could trade places with one person, who would that be?
That's a great question, Pastor. So, you know, the one person I would say is President Obama.
Okay, Obama.
Right?
Why?
Yeah. It's because, you know, I understand what it takes to really be a leader. And it's not really the popularity, it's the leadership, you know, to be able to run this country just for one day,
right.
just for one day, to be able to sit in a seat of power the way he is and
right.
run the largest country in the world in terms of economic empowerment, and to be able to touch many lives. You know, that would be the one spot that I would like to do.
Right. Now, being that you've been in corporate America over
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Do you still get that looks like, what are you doing here? And
yeah.
even though you don't rose to the occasion,
absolutely,
you still get that stare when you out in the mall and dressing gets casual. People look at you like you somebody, and you look somebody, but looking like, who is this brother? You get those stares on work at
all
work
the time,
all the time.
All the time.
Well, how you deal with that? You know,
all the time. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a story. So when I first started working for Exxon,
okay,
and I came out 24 years old, and I was a senior internal auditor. And I had to go and lead an audit, you know, with some individuals who had, you know, at least 20 to 30 years of experience with me, you know, and I was 24.
Right.
And, you know, the first thing they did, you know, obviously I'm a brother, right? And so they looked at me and asked me questions in terms of my background, where I was from, what school I went to, and, you know, and I told them. And so, you know, that alone, you know, was confidence for me to let me know that I've arrived and I'm here.
Yeah.
And you have and I'm in the building. You have to respect my talent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lord Jesus. Well, let's go back to Exxon. Now I know back then they was giving a signing bonus. Did they give you a signing bonus to go?
I did.
You don't tell me no man. I heard that you got a signing bonus.
I did.
Who get a signing bonus at age 24 to come work for an Exxon company or a company? Who get that?
Yeah,
nobody but somebody like you.
I did. It was a blessing.
Yeah,
you know, it was a blessing. And I tell you what, you know, because like I said, I come from modest means. You know, we weren't poor growing up, you know, but you know, we had everything we needed, right? And we were a family. And so when I saw that check, when they wrote the check for me coming out, and I agreed to work for them and sign the paperwork. And then when I saw that bonus check hit my account, you know, it was like almost going to the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I got that phone call, man, tell me going to Exxon and got to sign him. I said, he ain't going to the pro, but they hired him. I said, wow. I was so happy, Doc.
Yeah.
Hey, next question, Doc. How has God played a role in your success?
Oh, no, he's the cornerstone. Everything that I do in my entire existence comes from my faith in God.
Okay.
And like I said, I grew up in the church as an usher.
Yes, sir.
In Macedonia Primitive Baptist
Watch
Church
out
there
now.
in Lakeland, Florida.
On 7th Street.
On 7th Street. And so, you know, I was introduced to Christ at a very young age. You know, I got baptized at a very young age, was very active in the church, and it just continued to follow me my entire life. I have a very strong prayer life.
Right.
In terms of, that's one of the first things I do. You know, when I hit the ground in the morning, I thank
Right.
God and get on my knees and I talk to God. And so, you know, it's the cornerstone of my life. Everything I do centers around my love of Christ.
Amen, brother. Now, what do you say to those folks who have arrived, so to speak, and they forget about God or afraid to mention God in public?
Yeah, you know, I would say to them is, you know, when you find yourself in doubt, you know, just know that God is in total control of everything we do, right? He has unconditional love for us, and there's nothing that he wouldn't do for us. And don't ever be afraid, you know, to represent Christ in public and to speak up in terms of what he's done in your life. I know that's a prime example for me. You know, when I moved out to Houston, I became very active in my church in Houston as part of the accounting team, sat on the finance team there for over 10 years. And I always use Christ as a testimony of what he's did for my life. And so, you know, I would always make sure that I communicate to the youth don't ever be afraid to represent who Christ is to you, because at the end of the day, that's who's going to help propel you to do whatever you want to do in this world.
Yes, sir, Doc. You sound like a preacher. You going to preach on the side? Yes, sir. All right, Doc. In closing words for my listening audience, any final words you'd like to say, comments?
Yeah, so the one thing I would like to say is that, just continue to believe, and this is a message for the youth. Continue to believe in your skill set. Prepare yourself early. Know that you belong.
Amen.
Right? Don't
Amen.
ever feel discouraged that you can't accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. With faith in God, hard work, dedication, the sky's the limit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Doc. Last but not least, what's the best talk show in America?
Well, that's an easy one, my brother. It's A Word with Pastor Webb.
God bless you, brother. We love you, man. And let me just say this publicly, Doc. You have always been an inspiration to me, and a lot of folks, I know watching you grow up, cool, chill. I tell folks, you have smarts, you have intelligence, but brother, you are brilliant. I love you so much, man.
All right.
See you soon.
Indeed.
Until next week, may God bless you real good.